Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Shaquille O'Neal. There's 6 guys right there. The question poses, who's coming off the bench? Those guys are on the same team. You can only have 5 guys on the court at once. You send out your starting 5. Who's getting left on your bench? Something I put a lot of thought into, and my answer is one that it hurt to talk about because this is a guy that is one of the biggest reasons, I'd say top 3 reasons I ever fell in love with the NBA, ever fell in love with the game of basketball. It's a guy who I admired all the way through my childhood, and it's a guy who I mourned greatly and shed a lot of tears over the months following his tragic death 2 Januaries ago. And my answer is Kobe Bryant. We can get into the why in a second, but first, Mitch, I want to know who you picked and why was your reason for picking this guy that you're leaving on the bench?
Honestly, I think this one was a bit easier than you made it sound. Easily, I'm bringing Shaq off that bench. I mean, you look at Curry, you got Kobe, you got LeBron, you got MJ, and you got KD. That's a scary 5 right there, Carson. That's all I got to say. You got Shaq. All right, you don't have the size necessarily, but you got LeBron, you got KD, both big. KD's actually surprisingly pretty lean. I think he can take up some of that post. LeBron, we all know that man is a monster. I think you put either of those two, you get away with guarding the other team's center, and you can just run the floor with them. Everyone's dynamic. Everyone can shoot. Everyone can drive. I just think it's a pretty simple answer to leave Shaq on that bench.
Simple to leave one of the most dominant players of all time on the bench.
Compared to the other 5, I think so.
These are all 6 Hall of Famers.
Obviously, they're all great, but
I could see maybe your argument coming if we're playing today's game in this era only. Maybe there's an argument for Shaq because of this small ball idea. But Shaq's eating everybody's lunch at any given time in the history of the NBA. My argument for Kobe is he's going to do the same thing for my team as Jordan does. Defense, offense, him and Jordan are very similar players, and I think a lot more than people realize. And I just think that's why I'm leaving Kobe on the bench.
I get where you're coming from, Carson. I get where you're coming from. But, I mean, come on. You got Kobe. You can bring anyone. Anyone can bring that ball up the court. Shaq can't bring that ball up the court.
You don't need 5 guys to bring the ball up the court. There's one ball.
Yeah, there's one ball, but you can come with so many different angles. You can run a 5 out. You can run a 3 out. You can run a 3 out with 2 in. You could have KD.
2 in, one of them being Shaquille O'Neal?
No, Shaquille O'Neal's on the bench. Shaquille O'Neal will come off the bench when you need rebounds really badly. But hey, KD, LeBron, they got ups. They can box out. You know, you got someone over 7 foot. LeBron has to guard him. LeBron can box out. You just got to use your butt a little bit. Push him out of there.
I mean, LeBron, I think he can play 1 through 5 at any given time. But Shaquille O'Neal, I don't know if you watched the NBA when he was still playing. This man was a menace. He dominated guys well into an age where you shouldn't be able to. Who's guarding him? If we put him, okay, I think your argument coming is from today. Like, is that what you're saying? Like, if this team's playing today, you don't want Shaq.
Yes.
Who's guarding him in today's game? Who?
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert is getting pushed around, bro.
Okay, well, you could put Giannis on him, I think.
I love Giannis with all my heart.
Quite as tall as Shaquille, obviously. You can double down on him.
Shaq got 80 pounds on Giannis. Shaq got moves in the post. Giannis is not a guy that I want against a number 1 center in the post. I love Giannis. That guy's a power forward going up against today's power forwards, not Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, imagine the lineup without Shaquille O'Neal, those 5. There's not going to be a team out there with 5 people that can guard each of those positions.
Well, no, there's nobody that's going to be able to guard all 5 of these guys, but if you want your best possible lineup, why would you leave Superman on the bench?
Because I think the Superman that are playing the game are better than the Superman off the bench.
Who's Superman today?
Today, LeBron. LeBron's
Superman. On this team.
Yeah. LeBron's out there. Curry can shoot from anywhere. He crosses half court. You can shoot that ball. Jordan, we all know about Jordan. KD, I think, can do just as much. Okay, maybe not just as much, but I think he can fill that void that Shaq.
Oh my gosh. Look at Shaq versus look at KD. Tell me those 2 guys play the same role.
They don't play the same role, but I think they can get away with a little bit less maybe on the big man inside game with the stretch 5 game. They're all quick. They can all ball handle. They can all shoot. They can all drive. They can all play defense. I mean, I don't know what else you're looking for.
They can all play defense? Steph Curry's a good defender, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say he's elite necessarily, but I think he's quick enough that he can do his part as a point guard defender, yeah.
That's why he hasn't guarded the primary ball handler the past 6 years of his career? See, you're laughing, but I know you don't have an argument back to this.
Well, I told you my point. I don't think I'm going to convince you. I don't think you're going to convince me.
Dude, Shaq he dominated in his prime. And you put him in here. I'm not worried about defense. You brought up Rudy Gobert. If that's your best defender who's going to guard Shaq, Shaq's putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers in today's game.
So you're saying it's not today's game. So is it who are we playing against?
I'm saying any era, this is the 5 I want out there, no matter when I'm playing this team.
I still keep Shaq on that bench.
Not a chance. Look at who won the finals this year. The Bucks. They're starting 5 Brook Lopez. Is he any more athletic than Shaquille O'Neal is?
No, Brook Lopez doesn't even really play the inside. I feel like he's mostly just shoots.
But he was in the post during the finals.
Correct.
And he's better at that than Shaq, so that's why the Bucks won the title?
Well, the Bucks won the title because they had Giannis.
Yeah, but they still kept a big 5 in the game that's not athletic.
Well, yeah, but if they had an option to keep a stretch 5 in the game that could play the big 5 as well as doing other things, I think they would have had it even
They've had a
easier
stretch 5. They could have put Giannis there.
Yeah, Giannis isn't a stretch 5.
Well, you were saying
Giannis can't shoot.
You were saying he's a guy who could guard Shaq, so how is he not a 5 then?
He can. Okay, well, I'm not saying he's a stretch 5. I would put him as a defender to guard him, but I'm not saying he's a stretch 5. This team without Shaq is too quick.
This team with Shaq is still quick. There's 4 guys out. You can play 4 outs. Even in a 5-out game, I'm looking at today, Shaq has given the word to everybody. If they're playing a small ball lineup, that's quick guys. Who's guarding Shaq? You look at these 5-out teams that have small balls. Who's hanging with Shaq? P.J. Tucker? Montrezl Harrell? Daniel Tice? These are your small ball 5s and your stretch 5s. You think any of those guys are hanging with Diesel?
I guess not.
Kobe and Jordan, to me, are too similar to have on the same court when you have Shaq, KD, LeBron, and Curry. Curry can space the floor ridiculously. He can share the ball. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen in the history of watching tapes of anybody. He's the most unique guy solely out of the 6. Everybody else kind of has their own thing except for Shaq, and that's why I want Shaq. Jordan, second greatest basketball player of all time. He speaks for himself.
I like the second greatest there. I'm with you.
And then you have LeBron, the GOAT, play 1 through 5. He's literally LeBron. We know what he can do. I'm not even thinking for a second about putting King James on the bench. And then KD, if something says, I got to put a different guy out, KD's my next guy out. He's one of the greatest scorers to ever walk the earth. He has a clutch gene like no other, and he's literally a matchup nightmare for 29 teams. He's scary, but he's my next guy out. He's the weakest link. Next to, I think, would be Kobe for this team, and I love Kobe Bryant to death. Like I said, this man was my hero, so it hurts to say this, but Kobe's still my guy out, and I don't get how you're saying you're leaving Shaq on the bench.
I don't know, Carson. I mean, you make good points. I don't think you're going to change my mind. If I'm the coach of this, I got 6 people out here, I'm bringing Shaq off that bench. I mean, doesn't mean Shaq's not playing, right? You said, well, who's come off the bench?
Yeah, and I think, have you seen Kobe Bryant when he's mad? Or when he's got something, a determined look in his eye? Imagine that guy off the bench. Imagine.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of Lou Williams' game is that that's why he won 6th Man of the Year so many times, because he's a starting 5 type of player, but they put him on the bench and he goes against the reserves and dominates. And Lou Williams couldn't tie the shoelaces of Kobe Bryant. So imagine Kobe, the Mamba, off the bench. He's putting up 81 off the bench.
You starting Shaq, you come down, end of the 4th quarter, the other team's going to start fouling him. Then what happens when he has to shoot the free throws?
If this is my starting 5, there's no reason that free throws would decide the game in the 4th quarter. We're winning every game by 35.
Good point.
I'm not worried. Dude, Shaq is 100% in the starting lineup, and I know this is opinion-based, but if you have any other answer, if you say Shaq is coming off your bench, you're wrong. You're wrong.
I don't think I'm wrong. I think I am right, actually. I think you're wrong.
So why don't you think Kobe's the guy to put on the bench? I gave my arguments for why. I think he's just going to do the same thing as Jordan. I think everybody else is too special and unique from every other guy on the court.
Like I said, I just think that you bring those 5 in on that court, you have the most dynamic offense that you could ever possibly want.
Shaq.
Everyone can do everything.
Shaq adds a new, not everything. Nobody's going to bully ball like Shaq. Nobody of those guys is bullying balling.
You take away the bully ball. Besides that, I think what they can do inside that Shaq couldn't do, he makes up for it.
What do you mean?
With those 5 up and down the court, other teams aren't going to be able to keep up. Everyone can guard switches. You won't have any mismatches, really, on defense. Everyone can guard everyone.
Yes, you will. Steph Curry can't guard the 5. Steph Curry can't guard the 3 through 5. Shaq can guard 5 and 4.
Okay, take out Steph Curry. Besides Steph Curry, we'll agree with Steph
Oh, no,
Curry.
no.
The other 4. Steph can guard the 1 and the 2s. Some of the 3s. I think you can do some of the 3s.
No. Who? Who's a 3 that Steph's guarding?
Talon Horton Tucker. Isn't he a 3 sometimes?
Talon Horton.
He's a 2.
He doesn't see the court.
He's a starter now, I thought. I thought they were going to start him this year.
Over
all the ESPN graphics have Tucker as a starter.
Over Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James.
Carmelo was off the bench, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what I saw when
we'll
they were
see,
making the graphics. But, I mean, I don't think Carmelo can start at this point. I don't think he's not in his element anymore enough to start.
I think he'd be a good addition off the bench. Otherwise, you're overloading your top 5 too soon, which is a good reason to bring this back to if you put Kobe Bryant on the bench, he's coming in and he's going to overload already what's going on. That dude's going to be a menace off the bench.
Yeah, so Shaq.
Shaq's a menace in the starting 5.
So is Kobe.
He is, but he's too similar to Jordan to have both guys out there and leave somebody who's 7 foot and is barbecue chicken when Shaq's on the court. As he likes to say, he's out there burning dudes. He's bullying guys. Nobody's hanging with Diesel. Shaq is 100% on my team, but even with this, I think there's 3 guys that are non-negotiable on this team. Curry, LeBron, and Jordan. Those guys have to be. If you put any of those guys on the bench, you're wrong. Those 3 guys are not even. I'm not even considering putting those guys on the bench.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Curry, just so unique, and LeBron and Jordan are the 2 greatest to ever do it. Those 3 guys should never be on your bench. Everybody else, Kobe, Shaq, and KD, we can have a discussion about.
Yeah, and I think you and I are similar in thoughts. If I didn't have Shaq coming off the bench, I probably would have done Kobe off the bench.
So if you weren't wrong,
you
would put...
Yeah, sure. If I weren't wrong.
You put Kobe on the bench.
Sure. You can think that.